Welcome to the Couch Bum Kino 2025 Halloween special. This is going to be a more informal video. I didn't script anything out for this. We're just going to have some fun ranking one of my favorite horror movie franchises, which is Hellraiser. If you're interested, I have a book versus movie comparison video for the Hellbound Heart / Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser movie. That's on this channel if you want to go check that out. Got the big Pinhead action figure here. Got my Pinhead shirt on. So enough of me blabbing. Let's get into the ranking. Turns out that someone has already actually made a template for ranking the Hellraiser movies. Got all 11 movies in the Hellraiser series down here, and they're all in order, which is very nice. And I relabeled the S tier to such sights to show you, and the D tier to how about you don't. All right, let's start with the very first Hellraiser movie, just called Hellraiser. Came out in the late 80s. This one was a direct adaptation of Clive Barker's book, The Hellbound Heart. So where am I going to rank this? I think it's going to get an A. The first movie had some quality to it that everyone recognized and spawned a whole franchise. So even if I thought it was crap, there is something to it. I mean, it is a pretty decent horror film. There is a very low budgety kind of aspect to it, which gives it a certain flavor, a certain feel. There's some stuff that just doesn't work about it for me. What does work is that every second that these guys are on screen, and especially Pinhead, he's the only one of the Cenobites that really talks. Every second he's on screen, he just steals the scene. And I could always do more of him. I mean, he only had like 10 lines to say, and they were all pretty cool. So maybe his 11th line would have sucked. I don't know. It's good that they use the Cenobites in a more restrained manner. Could have used a little more of them in the first movie. They weren't even there that much. What do you have, like 5 minutes of screen time? It's a lot less than you think. The special effects are incredible. Holy crap. I mean, like the practical effects of when Uncle Frank is rebuilding himself, and every time Julia brings one of the victims in, she kills him and feeds him to the evil room, and he sucks him in. Then first he was like just a skeleton, then he got like a brain and a heart, and then he was just the nervous system, and then he had the skin finally back. So just seeing the evolution of a body rebuilding itself from death was really cool. And you know, I want to say it looked realistic, but it's not real, but it looked real. Hellraiser 2, where am I going to put this? Hellraiser 2 Hellbound. Is that what that's called? Yeah. Where am I going to put this one? I think I'm putting that in the S tier. I think Hellraiser 2 is definitely one of the best movies in the whole franchise. Whatever you liked about the first one, the second one just does more. There's more of it. You like the Cenobites? Well, there's a lot of Cenobites in this one. One of the things I really liked about the second Hellraiser movie was that it also expanded a lot on the general lore. Like, you got to see a lot more of the Cenobites. They did a lot more. You got to see how a regular human could turn into one of the Cenobite-like creatures. Is it Dr. Cunard or Cunard, whoever? He was the bad guy in the movie. And he became a crazy version of one of the Cenobites. He was still like the bad guy. I mean, they're all bad guys. Like, there's no like, they're all evil in this. But you also get to see a lot more of the hell world, the dimension that they come from, and it's just this evil, cold, dark place. And you see that giant triangle thing called the Leviathan. That was really cool. It takes all my favorite bits of the first one and just does more of them. You get a lot more Cenobites, a lot more horror, a lot more special effects, a lot of cool stuff. All right, moving on. Hellraiser 3. I think I want to place this in A tier. I'm going to give that an A. You know why? It's not a great movie. There are some really silly and kind of dumb parts to it, but it's a lot of fun. I'd say between these first three are pretty solid. Okay, I just got to say, none of these are like high art. None of these are going to like change your life. It's just a lot of fun. I mean, there are some parts of the movie that are kind of silly and stupid and just like don't work. And I think in this we see a lot more of that like pillar thing with all the pointy objects on it. I feel like if I read more of the Hellraiser books, I'll understand what the hell that thing is. One of the coolest things about Hellraiser 3 was that towards the end, there was a scene where like a whole bunch of Cenobites came out and you got to see different versions of them. And I remember there was one that, what did he do? He like shot CDs out of his head. He was like this. He was like the CD Cenobite. He was cool. Oh, and I think in the third Hellraiser, that's the first time that he's actually called Pinhead.
Play with this pinhead!
It's not his official name. He's the Hell Priest, and he does have a real name. What was his name? His name was Elliot Spencer. I'm pretty sure that was his name. So yeah, Hellraiser 3, I would say, is objectively not a great movie, but it is a lot of fun. Okay? So we'll leave it at that. Hellraiser 4, Bloodlines. All right, where am I going to put this? I don't think, well, it's definitely not an S tier. It's not a terrible bottom one. I don't think it's as good as these two, so I'm going to give it a B. Okay. I do like Hellraiser Bloodline. It's interesting. You learn a lot more about the history of the puzzle box, so La Marchand's configuration, whatever it's actually called. It's got some French name. This is also the one where half of it takes place in outer space, because a lot of 90s horror movies went to space for some reason. You got Leprechaun in space, you got Jason in space, and, well, half of this took place on a giant space station that was shaped like the puzzle box. The whole thing was ridiculous. I think there were 3 different timelines in this. Like, it tried to be really epic in the way it told its story. Tried to. You got to see way back in the past when the puzzle box was being built and designed and constructed. Then you get a story taking place in present day. Then you get a story taking place in the future, and that's the one with the spaceship shaped like the puzzle box. And Pinhead does, like, die at the end of this because they blow up the spaceship. The first 4 were supposed to be, I don't want to say a totally tight story arc, but they're connected. It's like the same general canon of story between the first 4 movies. I think these were the first 4 that were released in theaters, and then the rest were all direct to home video stuff. And Hellraiser 4 Bloodlines was the last one to make it to theaters. It's interesting. You should watch it once. It's Hellraiser in space. It's pretty cool. You get to see some new type of Cenobites. That's always fun. Yeah, it's a solid mid-tier kind of one. Definitely interesting, though. Hellraiser Inferno. Okay, Hellraiser 5. What did I think of this? I think I'm going to give this a C. I was not too crazy about this one. So Hellraiser 5 starts this long streak of Hellraiser movies. So Hellraiser 5, I was not crazy about it. It's this like weird detective story, and the detective is just kind of losing his mind, and I don't know. It was very forgettable. I don't know, some people like it. It didn't work for me. Some parts toward the end when the horror and tension is ramping up and the Cenobites show up more, I thought that was pretty cool, but the first, 70% of it was just kind of whatever. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I've heard these as rumors, which is that Hellraiser 5, 6, 7, and 8 were all these really kind of mid-low tier movies that the studio made because they just really wanted to keep the rights to the Hellraiser franchise, and they would take whatever kind of bottom of the barrel horror movie script and then be like, oh yeah, let's make it a Hellraiser movie. Can you throw Pinhead and his other guys in the box in there somewhere, and well, that way we can keep the rights to this franchise. And I really feel like that's what Hellraiser Inferno was. It felt like some weird detective mystery kind of story, and then they started throwing in the supernatural elements. Didn't work for me. Wasn't crazy about it. Okay, Hellraiser 6, Hellseeker. Where am I going to put this? It's going to go in the how about you don't, the bottom tier. I really wasn't crazy about that one. This one, I think the guy who starred in it, I might be wrong, but I think he's the guy from those commercials. You know that character? He always played him 100 times. It's called Mayhem. He always looks beat up. He's got a Band-Aid on his eye. He's like some insurance commercial. I think it starred that guy. This one also saw the return of Ashley Lawrence, who played Kirsty from the first 2 Hellraiser movies. So that was kind of cool to see her character come back. But then you find out she gets killed. So that's, oops, I spoiled that. Really, don't watch this movie, though. It's not great. Again, this really felt like it was some other kind of stupid script that they just shoehorned Pinhead and the Cenobites and all the creepy lore associated with him. They just kind of shoved this right in the middle of that script. Yeah, did not have a good time watching that movie. Hellraiser 7, Deader. Okay, first off, I was never crazy about the name of this one. I mean, Deader? Like super duper dead. He's even deader than dead. He's deader. All right, where am I going to put this? I think I'm going to give it a B. It's a solidly middle tier Hellraiser movie. There were some parts that were kind of okay. I liked them. It really wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was like a solidly decent, okay, middle tier kind of horror movie. None of these movies are incredible. So when I say it's middle tier, I mean it was okay. It's still fun though. All these movies are just so ridiculous and dark that you can just have a fun time watching them. Deader is a solidly middle tier Hellraiser movie. Really wasn't bad, but it doesn't, I'm not going to put it in the same rank as Hellraiser 2 or 1 or 3. Okay, Hellraiser Hellworld. Hellraiser 8, I think this is. Where am I going to put this? That's going to be C tier. It wasn't great. This one had an interesting premise, though. There was like a big mansion that had this party, and these 4 young adults got invited online for some reason. Like they won some kind of online competition, or there's like a secret invite to this. I don't remember all the details, but they go there. There's some kind of trap associated with Pinhead and the Cenobites, and they go from room to room and a bunch of creepy shit happens. And Hellraiser Hellworld also had an early performance by, man, I can't remember the actor's name right now, but he played Superman. Henry Cavill, that's it. Yeah, it had an early Henry Cavill role in it. He was in Hellraiser Hellworld. I think it's funny, you can see on the cover here, they're going for this weird like black and green Matrix look, because it was like, I mean, honestly, they were way too late to that aesthetic. This was like 2005 or something, but they're trying to capitalize on that early internet coolness. Like these people got invited to this creepy mansion. It was all online, man. Got to get with the times. Hellraiser 9, Revelations. Holy shit, I'm putting that at the bottom. This was one of the worst. Like I wish, man, is there a category below this? Doug Bradley stopped playing Pinhead in Hellraiser Hellworld. So Revelations is the first one where another actor was playing Pinhead. There he is. Are you scared of this guy? Honestly, this guy shows up, you think he's just like some drunk guy who got lost on his way to Comic-Con. That's not a real demon from hell. Come on, he's not scary. Compared to Doug Bradley, this guy is like an amateur. But yeah, Hellraiser Revelations just sucked. I didn't enjoy one thing about it. There were also a lot of situations and jokes, and just the writing of this movie in general I thought was just kind of crude. It just wasn't clever or funny. It had a really lowbrow 2000s kind of feel. Okay, Hellraiser Judgment. Where am I going to put this? I think, unfortunately, I got to put it down there at the bottom with these 3. It really wasn't good. One of the coolest things about it was that it had this character called the Auditor. Okay, that's his name. But look at this guy. He was awesome. Fits right in with the Hellraiser series aesthetic. He looks like he'd be a great character, right? Well, they did nothing with him. He had like nothing to do. He was barely in the movie. I was really hoping he would be, because he looked cool in the trailer. His coolness begins and ends just at looking at him. You go, wow, well, that's cool. What else is there to him? Nothing. A different guy played Pinhead. It wasn't Fat Pinhead, and he wasn't bad. Yeah, the guy playing Pinhead doesn't look terrible in this one. Definitely better than Fat Pinhead. Still not as cool as Doug Bradley. I don't remember anything about it. 2022's Hellraiser. I don't want to call it a remake, because it wasn't a remake of the first or the Hellbound Heart novel. It wasn't anything like that. It was more of a reboot to the series, just to, shoot some life into this. Where am I going to put this? I think I'm giving it an S tier. All the acting was good. I liked, no one really stuck out as awful in this. The cinematography looked good. The makeup, the special effects, and just the horrific imagery was top notch for this franchise. I mean, what was that? There was one guy, he had like this thread that was going through his whole body, and that was like his permanent torture. It was like grinding against his organs or something. That visual stuck out to me. You also got to see a lot of the Cenobites, which was a lot of fun. The Chatterer was in this. He had those teeth. I can't do that, but those creepy teeth. I think he actually died in this. I think that they killed him, right? Oh, I got to rewatch this. I only saw it once when it first came out, and it was a lot of fun, but I haven't seen this in like 3 years. Another interesting thing about the Hellraiser remake movie was that they got a totally new actor playing Pinhead. In real life, this actor is a transgender woman. Totally used to seeing this as Doug Bradley, and he's got an iconic performance, so you're always going to be comparing the new ones to him. In the original book, the Cenobites, particularly Pinhead, were never actually given a sex or a gender. So, yeah, it totally makes sense that they could get a transgender person playing Pinhead. Doesn't mess with the canon of the story at all. What did I think about her as Pinhead? Thought she was incredible. She was amazing. Blew the other 2 amateurs out of the water. Solid horror movie, one of the best Hellraiser movies in the whole franchise to me. Well, if you made it to this point in the video, thank you very much. I appreciate you sticking around to the end as always. Just wanted to have some fun, make a little Halloween special. Say goodnight, Pinhead. Good night. Had to tape the box to his hand because kept falling out. I think there's a little magnet. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, all right. Until next time, goodbye.